You know, sometimes you come across a piece of writing that just stops you in your tracks. It looks like a legal contract, but also kind of like computer code, and maybe even a philosophical text, all at once. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into. We are going to crack the code on a communication system that is so unique, it has its own grammar, its own rules, and a really specific mission. Let's get right into it.
Okay, here we go. Take a look at this. At first glance, your brain might just see a jumble of words, right? But look a little closer. The way everything is hyphenated, the specific capitalization. This is not random. This is a system. And it makes you wonder, what on earth is this system trying to do?
So seriously, what are we dealing with here? Does it have the weight of a legal document, the logic of a programming language, or is it some kind of deeply personal manifesto? You can kind of see elements of all three. To figure this out, we've got to treat it like a puzzle and start looking for the key.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the puzzle itself. Then we'll dig into the problem this whole thing is trying to solve. After that, we'll explore its unique solution, the syntax of peace, figure out its ultimate goal of cultivating knowledge, and finally, we'll look at the claimant's own specific rules.
All right, first things first, let's really define the puzzle that's in front of us.
So you have to ask yourself, why would somebody invent a completely new way of writing? To get that, we have to look at what the author thinks is fundamentally wrong with the way we all communicate every single day.
Look at this comparison. It's pretty wild. On one side, you've got all the stuff we use without a second thought. Brackets, italics, quotes. But for the creator of this system, these aren't just helpful tools. Oh no. They're all part of what's labeled fiction English babble.
So let that sink in for a second. From this point of view, our everyday punctuation isn't neutral. It's seen as a crutch, something used for ease of the conveyance, inside a system that's seen as flawed, maybe even dishonest. And that is the core problem this whole new system is built to solve.
Okay, so if normal English is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, according to the author, you have to build something totally new from the ground up, a syntax of peace.
And listen, this isn't just some fancy title. It's basically the instruction manual. Every single one of those words, correct, sentence, structure, parse, syntax, is a critical component of how this system is supposed to function.
And this slide basically lays out the whole process. It all starts with a personal feeling, a direct perception, what the text calls the sensation of the cognition. From there, you have to apply this super strict syntax. But it's not just a technical thing. It's also about your mindset. You have to operate from a place of peace and neutrality, be guided by honor and grace, and follow some very specific rules. It's an entire philosophy for how to communicate.
Okay, but why? Why go through all this trouble to create such a demanding system? What is the actual end goal? Well, the text is surprisingly direct about that.
And there you have it. The entire point is to achieve the knowledge cultivation of the viewer. This isn't about having a debate or trying to persuade you of something. It is designed to be a pure tool for teaching, for transferring information directly.
So, putting it all together, the process is pretty clear. The claimant, who is the author, makes a function claim, and the goal of that claim is to cultivate knowledge in you, the person taking this in. It's a one-way transfer of facts, coming from the author, who we now know is named Jason Matthew by the Glass.
So for our last section, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The text moves from this grand, abstract theory of communication to some very concrete details about the person who made it.
You'll see this section is headed with the word kuleana. Now that's a Hawaiian term, and it's a powerful one. It means something like right, responsibility, and duty all rolled into one. Using it here suggests the author sees providing this next bit of information as their personal responsibility.
And right under that kuleana heading, we get a direct line of contact, an email address. And we also get a web page handle, which grounds this whole abstract system in a real, specific place online.
And finally, we get this, a very clear-cut claim of ownership. The author, Jason Matthew Glass, is claiming copyright over this material in perpetuity, basically forever. It's like the final stamp on the whole thing, making it clear this is a complete, deliberate, and self-contained creation. So where does all this leave us? Have we just been looking at a blueprint for a more peaceful, more precise way for all of us to communicate? Or is this a deeply personal language, a system that's been perfectly engineered for an audience of just one? It's a fascinating question, and one worth thinking about. Thanks for tuning in.